Because you guys liked my how to eat alone here in South Korea video, I decided I should make a second video along the restaurant train because Korean barbecue here is not only delicious, but it's quite confusing because you're often having to cook for yourself and there's self bars. So this is your complete guide on how to eat Korean barbecue here in South Korea. Also check the links down below because I'm offering some really cool new fun things like a whole guide of my favorite restaurants here in Seoul, and I'm offering online consultations. So if you'd like to book a 40-minute slot with me so we can discuss your future trip here to South Korea, check the links down below. Okay, let's get right into it. Now let's start off and say that Korean barbecue is delicious, but it gets smelly, okay? When you're cooking, there's often these vents that are above the grill, and so the smoke goes up. However, it doesn't all get... So the smell of meat just kind of travels and just sits in the restaurant. So when you leave, you will smell like Korean barbecue. So I just want to say, don't wear anything that's like super nice that you can't wash easily because it will stay with you as you leave. You'll smell like Korean barbecue. That includes jackets. So make sure you take advantage of when you arrive. A lot of Korean barbecues have a like bin type seat, and that bin actually opens up and inside there might be a bag. Either way, just put your jackets and your belongings in there and close that up and sit on it. That's mostly to save your clothing from smelling like meat. Busy restaurants here in Korea have a little like iPad stand, and that's so that you can save your seat. Sometimes you have to write your name down. This is another reason why I recommend you watch my SIM card video, because if you have a SIM card, you can get added to those wait lists a lot easier. However, you're gonna tell them how many people that you are. So a good thing to know is the Korean number system and the word myeong. Myeong means people. 한명 would mean that you're going to eat by yourself, but I'm gonna tell you right now, the majority of Korean barbecues require that you have at least 2 people. 2명, 3명, 4명, 5명. So just learn the Korean number system and then you can just say how many people that you are and they'll help you find a seat. The first restaurant we're heading to is my favorite all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue. The restaurant I'm showing you is a chain, but I particularly love the one in Hongik, and I just go there to eat brisket. I'm not kidding. A lot of their other meats, they're good, but the brisket here, like my friends and I go here just to eat brisket until we can't eat no brisket no more. Know what I'm saying? Brisket is thinly sliced meat and it cooks super fast. I just think it's the best because I like it a little tiny bit crispy, and with the sesame oil and salt combination, it is so good. When you walk in and you get seated, they're gonna ask you which of the sets that you want. Usually I eat set A just so I can eat as much brisket as possible, but once you tell them what you would like, you're on your own. They're basically just gonna give you dishes and then you're gonna go and get everything by yourself. There's a refrigerator with water and extra side empty dishes if you need more dishes, and then they'll give you like a wooden board, kind of looks like a charcuterie. That's a hard word. I don't like that word. Charcuterie. Charcuterie. They're gonna give you a wooden board and you're gonna take the wooden board with you, and that's what you're gonna put the raw meat on. There will be tongs near the actual bins of brisket, and use those to put the meat from the fridge onto the wooden board, and then you'll use your own tongs to do all of the cooking. By the way, they'll turn your grill on for you, but if you look down, and you can kind of turn it yourself if you wanted to get a little hotter or a little cooler. Usually restaurants think that you don't know how to cook, so they leave it a little bit low. So it takes longer for you to cook, and then you won't be able to eat as much because you're eating slower. So if you want to turn it up just a little bit, but just keep an eye on it, because I will say that like from 1 flame, which means the lowest amount of pressure, to 3 flames, that's very different. It's very hot. just a warning. Once you grab the meats that you would like at this specific restaurant, you also can get the sam, which is the lettuce wraps. You can go and get the sesame oil and salt combination, which is my favorite. On the table, you're gonna see like little buttons. If you need the attention of a wait staff because you want to order an extra side or something like that, you can click those buttons to get the attention of the servers, and you'll probably hear like a ding dong, and they'll come over and say like, what would you like? If you're looking around like, where the heck is the silverware? How do I actually eat this? It's probably hidden in the drawer of the table. So on the side, you'll find some drawers that you can pull out. That's where you'll find the chopsticks, the spoons, the tissues, and maybe even sometimes wet wipe, like wet tissues. By the way, wet tissue is usually used before you eat to clean off your hands, but don't feel ashamed to use it throughout the meal, because especially at Korean barbecue, it's gonna get a little messy. If you're a messy eater, they have something called an apchima, which is it's big bib. Don't feel ashamed. A lot of people wear them, especially if they're wearing something nice, because they don't want to drip onto their outfits. This is usually super long. I always take it and I tie it. like that, so it actually isn't like down here, you know what I mean? Because I always miss my mask. If you don't see any that are available for you to grab, you can always ask one of the workers, 앞치마 주세요, which is like, can I have the apron, please? Also, there's that little soup kettle in the middle, so as you're cooking the meat, the soup can continue to cook, and there's like a kettle near the rice, and that's a kettle you can just grab for free, and you can top up your soup if you want some more soup. This is a great starter restaurant if you've never been to Korean barbecue, because brisket cooks super fast, and so you don't actually really have to worry too much, like, is it finished cooking or not? Once the pink is gone, you know it's cooked. If you're finding this video helpful, a like and a comment goes a really long way. Thank you guys so much. Okay, let's keep going. Now let's move on to my second location, which is my favorite restaurant, honestly, in Seoul. When a friend is coming in from out of town, I take them to get 돼지 갈비 at this next restaurant. What do you give it out of 10?
11.
The meat here, it's tender, it's flavorful. You have to get the 돼지 갈비. Galbi means rib, and often ribs are more tender. 돼지 is pork, just so you know, in case you don't eat pork, but the 돼지 갈bi, chef's kiss. It's a small restaurant, so it's best, especially on weekends, to get there right when they open, so you don't have to wait super long. But this place is great because they cook with charcoal. It's so much different from cooking with like electric gas stoves. The added taste of grilling something over actual like charcoal, it's so good. Something that you need to understand about charcoal, this is like a warning for your safety. When you have those above vent things are coming down and the meat is dripping onto the charcoal, sometimes a little flame will come up, and just be careful, get the meat off of the flame, because the flame is just gonna keep increasing. And take your tongs and just bang the mesh, because those little like meat particles that are dripping off, they're kind of like dripping slowly, but they're also burning onto the mesh. That's what's starting to light on fire. And if you bang on the mesh, those pieces start to fall off, and it just won't, you won't have to like get super worried like, oh my gosh, there's a fire. Now at this restaurant, you are cooking fully by yourself, and this meat is a bit thicker. So let me offer you some really quick cooking tips. Keep the meat down as long as possible, but you can kind of use your tongs to make sure it's not sticking to that mesh. But you want to keep rotating it, and don't flip it too often. Try to flip it once you see that it's browning. And once you flip it over, don't cut it up until all of the meat is seared. Once you start cutting, that's giving the juices opportunity to leave. And to have the most delicious experience, don't be afraid to put things on the grill. Use that grill to its full capacity. Put everything on there because it tastes better grilled. Kimchi on the grill, incredible. If you put garlic on the grill, it'll actually make it a little less like garlicky, so it won't be as quite flavorful and as quite like stuck. The taste and the smell like sticks to the inside of your mouth. If you grill it, it helps with that. The best is when they have those like little tin dishes. If you put sesame oil and then put the garlic in, it's cooking and like slightly frying the garlic. That is so good. At this restaurant in particular, when you're ordering the 돼지 갈비, they're going to ask you how much, and they're asking you like, how many portions would you like? You always have to order at least 2 portions to start, so you can just order 1 portion per person. And if you don't speak any Korean, just feel free to put up your fingers of like how many portions that you would like, because that's probably the question that he's asking you.
This is called a sam, which is like a lettuce wrap. The first time you try it, you should just eat it plain just to try it. But you take it, and you can dip it in the salt just a little bit. You put it in the lettuce, and then usually I'll take kimchi, put it in here. And if you like onions, you can put onions in here. This is called sanjang. It's technically a tiny bit spicy, but I don't think it's spicy. But you're supposed to put it in there like that. You can put garlic on here or garlic raw. If you have rice, you can put rice in here. But literally, you can put whatever you want. But at the end of the day, you're supposed to put the whole thing in your mouth. Like wrap the whole thing up, one bite. You're not supposed to like bite into it. You're supposed to literally.
If you guys haven't watched my how to eat alone video, I super recommend that video as well, and my whole channel, which has a whole bunch of helpful tips if you're coming here to South Korea. Check out the links down below for more good information, and I will see you in the next one, guys.